Have you ever heard of someone being so desperate to escape their past that they'd go to unimaginable lengths to construct an entirely new identity? Today's story is one of deception taken to its most twisted extreme, a tangled web of lies, murder, and stolen identities that spanned continents and years. It's a tale that began with a seemingly mundane fishing trip, but quickly spiraled into a maze of coincidences and shocking revelations that would expose one of the most elaborate cons of the century, a man so determined to start anew that he was willing to kill his closest friend and assume his entire life. But it didn't stop there. In a sickening turn of events, this malicious con man didn't just take on a new name. He forced his own daughter, just a teenager, to pose as his wife, dragging her into his dark world of deception. As you listen to this unbelievable true crime story unfold, you'll find yourself gripped by the sheer audacity of the perpetrator's actions and the incredible series of coincidences that ultimately led to his downfall. Because in the end, no matter how meticulously a lie is constructed, the truth has an uncanny way of clawing its way to the surface. So get comfortable and prepare to be taken on a twisting, turning journey from the depths of the English Channel to the treacherous underbelly of a decades-long con game. This is the story of the man who stole his best friend's life and identity, a gripping account of deception, murder, and the haunting consequences of trying to outrun your past. On a cool July morning in 1996, English fisherman John Copig and his companion untied their boat from Brixham Harbor in the coastal town of Devon. The brisk ocean air and the gentle rocking of the waves filled them with anticipation for a bountiful day of fishing in the English Channel. Little did they know their mere decision to cast their weighted net in an obscure area called the Roughs would inadvertently expose a twisted tale of deception, stolen identities, and cold-blooded murder that had been festering for years. As they hauled up their catch, a shocking sight emerged from the murky depths: a man's lifeless body, tangled within the confines of their net. Panicked, the two fishermen immediately alerted the authorities, and soon, the police swarmed the scene, launching a full-scale investigation into what they initially believed to be a tragic accidental drowning. However, as the victim's peculiar attire and possession of an expensive Rolex oyster watch came to light, suspicions began to mount. The timepiece's date had frozen at July 22nd, indicating the man had perished days earlier. More mysteriously, he carried no identification, and his pockets appeared to have been turned out, suggesting foul play. Despite these ominous signs, the police found themselves at an impasse, unable to identify the man or determine the cause of his demise. That is, until a breakthrough from an unlikely source: the Rolex company itself. Confirming the watch's authenticity, they provided the crucial serial number that would unlock the first piece of the puzzle, leading investigators to identify the deceased as Ronald Joseph Platt. But as they delved deeper into Platt's life and associates, a bizarre twist emerged that would take the case down a rabbit hole of deception and mistaken identities. A man named David Davis, who claimed to be Ronald's close friend, seemed to be assuming his identity in an unsettlingly convincing manner. Davis's strange behavior and inconsistent statements prompted the police to search his residence, where they stumbled upon a photograph of him on a boat called the Lady Jane. A forensic examination of the vessel would reveal damning evidence: traces of Ronald's blood and hair in the cabin, as well as a receipt for an anchor that matched the injuries on his body. Just when the investigators thought they were closing in on the truth, another bombshell dropped. David Davis was not who he claimed to be. His real identity was that of Albert Johnson Walker, a Canadian fugitive wanted by Interpol for a massive fraud scheme in which he had swindled over 70 clients out of millions of dollars. It turned out that after fleeing Canada with his young daughter Sheena in tow, Walker had assumed the identity of David Davis, a man he had previously scammed in his elaborate con. His path had crossed with Ronald Platt's in the British town of Harrogate in 1991, and within a few years, Walker had ingratiated himself into Platt's life, even setting up a company with him and his girlfriend at the time, Elaine Boyce. In a sickening twist, Walker had forced his own daughter Sheena, barely in her teens when he kidnapped her, to pose as his wife, creating an elaborate charade of domestic bliss to fool those around them. The two even had children together, the parentage of which remains unconfirmed to this day. Platt had returned to England in 1995 after a stint in Canada. Walker saw an opportunity to eliminate the one loose thread that could unravel his meticulously crafted web of lies and put an end to his life on the run. Under the guise of a friendly fishing excursion on his boat, the Lady Jane, Walker had lured Platt onto the waters with the sole intention of murdering him and assuming his identity permanently. With chilling calculation, he had bludgeoned Platt with the very anchor later found in the investigation, tied it to his belt, and tossed his lifeless body into the unforgiving depths of the English Channel. 2 weeks later, Kopig and his companion had inadvertently stumbled upon the grim remnants of Walker's crime, and in a series of incredible coincidences, from the fisherman's chance decision to explore the roughs, to the discovery of the Rolex, to the mistaken visit by a police officer that blew Walker's cover wide open, the truth began to unfold at a dizzying pace. The forensic evidence mounted. The blood, the anchor, the GPS data placing Walker's boat at the crime scene. And in a shocking turn of events, Walker's own daughter Sheena spoke out against him during the trial, calling the man she had been forced to know as her husband evil and a manipulative con artist who had trapped her in his deceptive schemes from a young age. As the trial reached its climax, a damning admission from Walker himself seemed to seal his fate. When asked to give his statement, the once unflappable con man had remained silent, his veneer of confidence cracking in the face of the overwhelming evidence against him. After a grueling 2 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict: guilty of the premeditated murder of Ronald Platt. Albert Walker was sentenced to life in prison, where he remains to this day at the age of 75, still showing no remorse for the haunting crime that sparked from his desperate attempt to evade the consequences of his treacherous past. In the aftermath, Sheena, the woman he had forced to live a lie as his wife, expressed a sense of relief at his conviction, but also lingering fear and trauma. "He possesses a threat to me and my family," she stated, vowing to protect her own children from the man who had robbed her of her youth and manipulated her into his twisted schemes. The case serves as a chilling reminder of the depths of human deception, the haunting impact of identity theft, and the incredible power of coincidences in unraveling even the most intricate web of lies. It was a series of seemingly insignificant events: a chance decision by two fishermen, the discovery of an expensive watch, a mistaken house visit, that ultimately brought a cold-blooded killer's demise, providing long-awaited justice for the victim and his loved ones. As the waves continued to lap against the shores of Brixham Harbor, the tale of Albert Walker's ruthless con stands as a stark warning that even the most meticulously crafted facade can come crashing down with the slightest nudge from fate, exposing the darkness that festers beneath. Justice, though long and winding, will always find its way through the murkiest of depths. As the sun sets on this harrowing tale of deception, murder, and stolen identities, we're left grappling with the haunting consequences of Albert Walker's ruthless actions. A man so desperate to escape his past that he was willing to take on an entirely new life at any cost. Even from behind bars, Walker's refusal to show remorse begs the question: did he truly believe his own lies? That by fully embodying Ronald Platt's identity, he could somehow rewrite his personal history and absolve himself of his previous crimes? His cold calculation in disposing of his supposed friend to protect his fragile facade is a chilling look into the psyche of a master con artist. And what of his daughter Sheena, the woman he twisted into living a lie from such a tender age, forced to play wife to her own father in his depraved charade? Her fear that he still possesses a threat, even after his conviction, is a sobering reminder of the deep psychological scars left from years under his control. As Walker ages in prison, one can't help but wonder if he has any regrets. If surrounded by the stark reality of his cell, he's finally forced to confront the mountain of lies and broken lives he left in the wake of his selfish quest for reinvention. So I'll leave you with this. If you found yourself in Walker's shoes, wielding the power to completely remake your identity, would you ever cross that ethical line? Could you ever justify robbing another human of their life just to escape the consequences of your own misdeeds? Or would you find the courage to face your demons head-on, no matter how dark your past? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. From deception this audacious, a conversation is surely warranted. And who knows, you might provide some insight that cracks the impassive facade of a decades-long con once and for all. Before I let you go, I want to ask a huge favor. If you found this twisted tale of deception and identity theft as gripping as I did, please show your support by subscribing to my channel. It truly means a lot and allows me to keep bringing you more of these crazy but true crime stories from around the world.